I'm Mr. X. I'm the guy behind the guy, giving you all the information you want to know, all the information you need to know about the VA claims process. All right, let's switch subjective we're talking about. Your VA disability claim, was it recently denied? If so, here's what you can do next. Okay. As always, we're going to highlight the different types of claims and what specifically we're talking about. Okay, we're not talking about, while it may have been claimed as direct or secondary on a presumptive basis. Okay, we're talking about what you can do if your claim was denied. So you're going to be filing a supplemental claim or a higher level review type of claim. Okay, we're talking about a 0995 claim or a 0996. Okay, your options essentially are about 4 different things. First, and in no particular order here. Okay, first, a supplemental claim, that's the 0995. You had your higher level review claim, which is filled out on form 0996. You can request a hearing as to, a predeterminational or a post-determinational hearing. And there's no set form for that. You can file that on a statement in support of your claim, which is a 4138. You can submit that on a general information form, which is an 0820. Okay. Fourth option, I'll list here. You can request a BVA hearing or a Board of Veterans Appeals hearing. Okay. For supplemental claims, that's filed on a form 0995. All right. After your claim is denied, this can be filed at any time after that denial. Okay. Ideally, it's in your best interest to, if you're going to file a supplemental claim, to do it within a year of the previous denial. That way, your effective date can be held intact from the previous decision. Okay. Now, when you file a 0995, this claim can be completed by any VA rater. Okay, that might be experienced, that might not be. It's kind of a crapshoot of who it's assigned to once the claim is made ready for decision. Now, there's a few things that you need to understand, if you don't already, about VA claims and how to best, or how to file your best supplemental claim. Okay, every VA claim has to meet 3 criteria for service connection to be granted. Okay, there on the left, there's the elements of criteria. The first, there has to be a current disability or symptoms. So if you serve from 1980 to 1989 and there's no treatment records in your file showing a history of the condition, and then you file a claim for, tinnitus or a right knee condition or asthma, doesn't matter what the claim is, and there's nothing in it that shows a current diagnosis, a current disability or symptoms, then the likelihood that that claim is denied is almost 100%. Okay? So, first element, there has to be a current disability or symptoms. So if there's nothing in your file, then submit treatment records recently, hopefully, that show a current disability or symptoms. Next, needs to be an in-service event, injury, or disease regarding the condition that you are applying for. So if you're applying for a right knee injury, then ideally in your service treatment records, it's going to show that you were seen in service for a right knee injury. Okay. Now, if we're talking about a presumptive condition here, like service in Southwest Asia or service in Vietnam and herbicides, if you have verified service in those areas, then that counts for presumptive service connection, as long as it's one of those presumptive conditions listed under 38 CFR 3.309. And lastly, the third element, there has to be a nexus between your current disability and the event that happened in service. The VA can request this of an examiner. If you'd like to submit in a private medical opinion showing a nexus, you can do that. But there has to be a nexus between the disability in service and your current symptoms. Okay. Now, when you're looking at your recent denial, let's say you were denied last week for a right knee injury. Okay. Now, your rating notification, the decision that they send you, they're going to tell you exactly what of those 3 elements you're missing. So if you're missing, the first element or the current disability or symptoms in your rating decision that they send you, it's going to say no diagnosis. There's no current diagnosis of this condition. We can't verify symptoms or a diagnosis. Is going to tell you that you didn't meet the first criteria. Now, if you didn't meet the second criteria for in-service event, injury, or disease, it's going to say something to the effect of this condition was not incurred or caused by service. And then if you didn't meet the element for criteria number 3, the nexus, the language used in your rating decision is going to be something to the effect of, hey, the VA examiner provided the following opinion, which said that this condition neither occurred in nor was caused by service. It's going to make references to there not being a link between the treatment that you sought in service and your current symptoms or your current disability. That's going to show verbiage such as that. So when you're filing your supplemental claim, review why it is that you were denied, and then as the evidence that you need to submit with your supplemental claim to overcome the reason why you were denied, then you need to submit that kind of evidence or tell the VA where it is. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example. So let's say you were denied for a right knee injury, okay, because there was no diagnosis. Okay, so with your supplemental claim, you're going to show, hey, in the evidence portion, they're going to show that you have a diagnosis by either telling them, hey, at the VA medical center in this location has treatment records that show that I was seen for a right knee injury. Okay, now it needs to be specific and needs to be recent, ideally 1 year or less. If you were seen by your private healthcare provider, then submit records showing treatment for that condition during that time. Okay, so whatever it is that you submit evidence-wise should be to overcome the reason why you were denied. No diagnosis, submit treatment records showing treatment and a diagnosis. If it wasn't incurred or caused by service, then highlight where it was in service, where you were treated in service, or if it's a presumptive condition that you served in Southwest Asia and how it applies. Okay, if there's no link between the two, then provide a private opinion that shows that there's a link. Get your private healthcare provider to provide a link. Submit studies or do your research online that shows studies that link, your right knee condition to service. But ideally, with any supplemental claim that you file, you have to submit evidence that overcomes the reason why you were denied. If you don't do that, then the VA rater's going to take a look at it and they'll say, okay, there's no new evidence, and they're just going to confirm and continue the previous denial, okay? Next option here is you can file the VA Form 0996, which is a higher level review form. Okay, important thing to realize about this form is it has to be filed within 1 year of the denial notification letter. Okay, another thing to understand about these claims is they are completed by more experienced raters. So if you feel you have an intricate or very specific or detailed claim, then this might be the best option for you. Okay, now these more experienced raters, what they're going to do is they're going to look at it to see if there was a procedural type error. Okay, one thing that's important about these higher level reviews, okay, is no new evidence can really be considered, even if it is beneficial to you. The person who's reviewing your file cannot consider any evidence that was not of record at the time of the contested decision or the decision which they sent you the notification on. Now, if evidence or late flowing evidence was submitted that shows like a date stamp on it prior to that decision and it showed up after the fact, then yeah, that next rater can then consider it. But with a higher level review, with this more experienced rater, they're going to review your file. They're going to determine, was there a procedural error? Was there a duty to assist error? Meaning, did the VA have a duty to assist you in the process of completing your claim. That is, did the VA fail to go out and get the treatment records, which showed where you had a diagnosis? Did the VA fail to get a medical opinion or an exam that could have further substantiated your claim? Okay, the VA has to do some of these things. If they don't, it's a procedural error or a duty to assist error. Next, is there a difference of opinion? Is there something that, the previous rater or decision didn't understand about your claim, or could be construed as a procedural error? So when you file the 0996, this more experienced rater will go through your claim, and they may hold a hearing regarding, it's a short conversation about your file, and then the decision will be made. And that decision will then inform you, hey, there was a duty to assist error, there was a difference of an opinion error, at which point they direct the VA how to proceed. Generally, it has to do with developing for records, getting an opinion, getting an exam, or something of that nature. And then a later decision is then subsequently made, which then identifies the duty to assist error that was committed, and that was reviewed and decided when you filed that higher level review form. Okay, so it's a little complicated, a little different, but this is an alternative route that you can do. There is no correct way to do this. Okay, whether it's a supplemental claim or a higher level review. All right. A lesser known option is you can request a hearing. Now, if a claim that you submitted is proposed to be decreased or severed, or if there is a clear and unmistakable error, you can request a hearing to discuss the proposed reduction. You can request a hearing as a predetermination or post-determination. So you can submit like a 0995 supplemental claim and also submit a hearing request. Now, generally, lesser known thing here, if a reduction is proposed and you request a hearing within 30 days, then that's going to hold your disability evaluation in place until you have the hearing. Now, it may take 6 months or a year until you have a hearing, but on the proposed reduction form, the process is generally 60 days or 2 months, and so it's an opportunity for you to maintain your disability evaluation until you have that hearing. Okay, so there's a couple different things about hearings. There's a formal and an informal one. A formal one is recorded and transcribed. You put it under oath. Okay, and it sounds kind of exactly like what it sounds like. And then there's the informal kind, which is more of a friendly conversation. Okay, it's a non-adversarial process. Adversarial meaning the VA is not trying to oppose your claim. They're there just trying to understand the position, and they are there to listen to the evidence and testimony and or exhibits that are presented, and then take all that information to review it, to further develop if needed, and then to make a determination. So it's important to know, okay, so like I said, it's non-adversarial. You're not going to be cross-examined. They're not there to try to prove you wrong. But the VA manual even says, something important here. It says, the fact that an appropriate question by the hearing official may lead to information that results in or is followed by testimony that may show an inconsistency or otherwise negatively impact the witness's credibility or the weight of the evidence on a particular matter does not mean that the hearing official engaged in cross-examination, but the testimony is not admissible. This is not intent to refute evidence or discredit the claimant's statement. So, the VA official is there to ask questions, to understand. And just because they're asking questions doesn't mean it's a cross-examination and they're trying to oppose you. So keep that in mind as you're presenting evidence and testimony. Make sure that it goes to, prop up or support the claim that you're making. Okay. Here is our options, though. Okay. The last option is a BVA hearing or a Board of Veterans Appeals hearing. Okay. Now, I'm not going to get into detail on this one, and I'm going to recommend that you don't tackle it alone. Okay. It's a long, specific process. I would consult with an attorney with a veteran service organization that can help better assist you if this is the route you choose to go. Okay. Ultimately, it results in you'll be meeting with a VA judge, and they'll make the decision. Now, they tend to be, I would say, more lenient. They're more open to the evidence and testimony that can and is presented. But the process to get a BVA hearing or get before a BVA judge can take upwards of 2 years. So it is not a short process. And if anything along the way, evidence-wise or testimony-wise, that's in the file presented, refutes or goes against, then it can only lead to delays. And so that's why it's last listed. It is an option. For one, it's open to you if that's what you want to do. But because of the time involved, I put it last, okay? So keep that in mind, but seriously, consult with an attorney or a VSO. They're going to help you understand the process. They're going to help you to understand what option is best for you. All right. As always, rating considerations and conclusions. Okay, know your options, what's available to you, supplemental claims, high-level reviews, requesting hearings, BVA, appeals. You know what options you have. The first three, I think, are a little bit better than the BVA option. Not that I'm against the BVA, but it's just so time-consuming and so long. But if you've continued to fight a claim for years and years and years, then maybe the BVA option is best serves for you. Okay? As always, please like, subscribe, leave a comment about what you thought or what you would like to address in the future. I'm Mr. X, and we'll see you next time.